Hello everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Taking a fragile startup idea and turning it into a massive, scalable business, it's honestly one of the hardest things you can possibly do. But as we're going to see today, it doesn't have to be a total shot in the dark. There's actually a proven, structured path to pull this off.
To set the stage, I want to kick things off with a really powerful thought from Selvam M, the CEO and founder of Shortfundly. He describes this entire process as building startups from idea to scale. And honestly, packed into that one short sentence is a literal hero's journey. It's full of pitfalls, gatekeepers, and yeah, some pretty massive triumphs too. Today, we're unpacking exactly how you make that huge leap. So here is our roadmap for today. We're going to enter the startup incubator, map out the funding journey, explore different funding opportunities, figure out what investors actually want, and finally look at how to avoid some of the most common building mistakes.
Right, let's jump straight into section 1. Enter the startup incubator.
Okay, I want you to think of the startup world as this incredibly dangerous, uncharted terrain. If you wander out there totally alone, your odds of survival are painfully low. Enter the startup incubator. Now, this isn't just some fancy shared office space. It's a dedicated entity, and its entire mission is to help you transform your raw idea into a successful business. And the absolute biggest reason why incubators increase startup success. They exist purely to tip those brutal statistical odds of failure back in your favor, maximizing your chances of survival and growth.
So how do they actually pull that off? Basically, they equip you with a suit of entrepreneurial armor. You get mentorship to act as your compass, business validation, because you don't want to spend months building a product nobody actually wants, plus product development support. They also give you the office infrastructure, government ecosystem support, and crucially, networking and direct investor access. Having direct access to investors, that literally lets you bypass the cold email void completely. It's a structural scaffolding built right around your fragile idea.
The main takeaway here is really simple. Incubation reduces risk and accelerates growth. By surrounding yourself with all that armor, the inherent and, let's face it, often fatal risks of those early days are drastically minimized. You avoid those easily avoidable mistakes, and with all that mentorship, you hit the gas on your growth. Basically, you go faster and you go a lot safer.
Moving right along to section 2, mapping the funding journey.
The life cycle of a startup doesn't just magically start with a giant check from a VC, right? It starts with the idea stage. From there, you're usually bootstrapping, just scraping by on your own resources, maybe some friends and family money or early grants. But look at what sits right smack in the middle of this progression: incubators and accelerators. They are the perfect stepping stone. They get you polished and ready before you ever even think about stepping in front of seed and angel investors or pushing for that big Series A. Now, I really want to slow down for a second here, because this might be the single most important rule of the entire funding journey. Raise capital only when your milestones justify it. Seriously, do not ask for a check just because you have a cool idea. Actually, scratch that. Never ask just based on an idea. You ask when your user growth, your working product, or your early revenue absolutely proves that you are ready for gasoline to be poured on the fire.
Okay, section 3, exploring funding opportunities.
A lot of founders get stuck thinking funding only means hunting down a Silicon Valley venture capitalist, but you actually have 3 massive pillars of capital to tap into. On the government side, there are incredible initiatives out there, things like Startup India, Startup TN, Tide, MSME schemes, DST, and BRAC. Then you've got the private sector, which is your angel networks, family officers, accelerators, corporate funds, and VCs. And definitely don't sleep on alternative financing. Think revenue-based funding, crowdfunding, or honestly just having your own customers fund your growth. The capital is definitely out there, just waiting for the right business.
Let's look at section 4, what investors actually want.
Because, knowing where the money is and actually convincing someone to hand it over are two completely different ballgames. Investors have a very strict checklist. They want to know, are you solving a real problem in a genuinely large market? Do you have a rock-solid founding team? Do you have a working minimum viable product or MVP and some early customers? They're also looking for revenue traction, a scalable model, real financial discipline, and a clear vision. It's a lot, right? Well, if you're missing pieces of this puzzle, going through an incubator is exactly how you fix them.
But when it really comes down to it, the ultimate secret of the pitch room is people versus products. This is the golden rule of early-stage investing. Investors bet on people first and products second. Think about it. Your product might completely pivot. Your whole market could shift overnight. But a brilliant, resilient, coachable team, that is what they are betting their money on. They're betting on you to figure it out when things go sideways.
All right, final section, Section 5, avoiding mistakes and building.
I see this fatal trap all the time. Founders will spend literally weeks perfecting their pitch decks when they have absolutely zero traction. Don't do this. The absolute rule is focus on traction before fundraising. You have to prove the business works with real, undeniable metrics. When you have early users or a climbing revenue chart, that is your ultimate leverage. Traction makes the investors chase you, not the other way around.
So the mantra to remember is, build first, raise later. Getting that solid, working foundation in place is always step one. You gotta get your hands dirty, build the product, get it in front of actual users, and really understand your market. Capital is supposed to act as a multiplier for a machine that is already working, not a crutch for something you haven't even built yet.
I absolutely love this quote. Funding doesn't build startups. Great execution does. Having money in the bank is just a tool, you know? It's like a hammer, and a hammer isn't going to magically build a house all by itself. The true engine behind any startup success is your daily ability to just relentlessly execute on your vision.
So we've walked through the roadmap, we've seen exactly why incubators give you that vital armor, we've mapped the funding stages, and we've cracked the investor checklist. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought from Selvam's presentation. The best time to build is now. Are you ready? The tools are literally right there waiting for you. Incubators are ready to gear you up, and capital is out there searching for great teams. The only question left is, are you ready to take that very first step? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep building, and I'll see you next time.